You know we be with it, we off in the hood like some wizards. Nobody ever gave us anything. Meant something from nothing, just like magicians. Gotta relearn everything. Just to remember that I was forgetting. Just to remember that we had a vision. Did it all, don't know how I did it. Time to go start season to go and you know those crystal trips. Let them know we in here, yeah, we in the building. Start season to go and you know those crystal trips. Back up in the matrix, yeah, we on the mission. Start season to go and you know those crystal trips. Let them know we in here, yeah, we in the building. Start season to go and you know those crystal trips. Back up in the matrix, yeah, we on the mission. Off on the mission, you know how it goes. Off in the system, they turn up their nose. They took all the soil, but they didn't know. Through the concrete, you see the roads. Eyes ain't open, don't mean I ain't woke. Ain't got no cash, don't mean that I'm broke.
Welcome in. Welcome in, masters of new energy, transforming energy in every now moment. Welcome. Let's start with the unknown. Masters allow themselves to experience, truly experience what is called the unknown or the unsaid. You have this concept of God, of spirit, and it is a concept of that as now. Sometimes you believe it as religion. Sometimes you believe it as systems. Sometimes it can become very diluted. And sometimes very, very human-like. In the truest sense, do you dare say it's spirit? Do you define it as the all that is everything and no thing at the same time? We're going beyond what is limited, tapping into your unlimitless, the unsaid of you. Are you ready? I know I am. How about you, Marcus? Are you ready?
I am ready. I am absolutely ready. Dive into the raw material law of one, episode 28. And thank you for all of you that are here on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And thank you to all of you that continue to support and share your thoughts and your ideas and your downloads throughout this time. And yeah, thank you guys all. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for what Ra has for us.
All right. Am I now? Here we
No,
go.
you're good.
Now I'm good. We're on section 40, or they call it session 40. We're on episode 28, guys. Book 2. Holy moly, Batman. We've come so far. So Ra says, I am Ra. I greet you in the love and in the light of the infinite creator. We communicate now. We communicate now. The questioner says, I thought that I would make a statement and let you correct it. I am trying to make a simple model of the portion of the universe that we find ourselves in. Starting with the sub-logos, our sun. We have white light emanating from this, which is made up of the frequencies of ranging of the red to the violet. I am assuming that this white light then contains the experiences through all of the densities. And as we go into the 8th density, we go into a black hole, which becomes on the other, comma, on the other side, comma, another logos or sun, and starts another octave of experience. Can you comment on this part of my statement? Now, the only question that the questioner asks is, I'm going to make a statement, and I want you to tell me if it's right. It's my hypothesis, and I want you to tell me if it's right. You know you can do that with your higher being, with your soul, with the divine. You can make it a statement and say, am I on the right track? Right? Ooh, that's part of your opt-out button. That's part of a discerning or embodiment. Right? All right. Ra says, I am Ra. We can comment upon this statement to an extent. The concept of the white light of the sub-logos being prismatically separated and later at the final chapter being absorbed again is basically correct. So it means, hey, you come to the end and it starts again. But the way I kind of heard it, it was on the other side of the logos that we see as the sun, it starts again in another dimensional field. I mean, I heard it that way, and I'm excited to hear the rest of the question, right? The rest of the question, there's got to be another question and then another answer, because infinite possibilities are within the perception of what the questioner said. This is how I believe it. So what's your perception? How do you believe it? Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Ross says the white light which emanates and forms the articulated sub-logos has its beginning in what may be metaphysically seen as darkness. The light comes into the darkness and transfigures it, causing the chaos to organize and become reflective or radiant. Thus, the dimensions come into being. So, in order to have light, there must be dark, from light to come forth, and then for dark, for the light to go into. Whoa, right? Conversely, the blackness of the black hole, metaphysically speaking, is a concentration of white light being systematically absorbed once again into the one true creator. So the one true creator is the energy of dark and is the energy of light. Finally, this absorption into the one true creator continues until all the infinity of creation have attained sufficient spiritual mass in order that all form once again the great central sun. If you would so imagine it, or of the intelligent infinity awaiting potentialization by free will. Potentialization means that it's going to become because free will is going to create it. That's what life is wanting to do. It's energy wanting to serve and become form, however you create it. The one true form, the divine, cannot be created, nor can it be destroyed, but we can create from it. Wow. Thus, the transition of the octave is a process which may be seen to enter into timelessness of unimaginable nature. It keeps going on and on and on and on, even further than an ever-ready battery, right? The attempt to measure it by your time measures would be useless. See, that's what we keep doing. It's futile, right? That's why anytime a spirit or the divine is channeling and we're asking about time, it says, I can give you the best guess at that because we're giving you the energy and you're discerning it through your label or your technology or your belief. But we're timeless, so we can go give you a best guess. It's not that anything's wrong with us. It's just that we're giving you our best guess based on the labels and the technology that you have and the information that you have. Not that you're wrong, but not that anything is wrong with us, because we don't do it by how you base time on. Everything that you've done, the divine says, has already happened. It's just catching up with you. Whoa. I never thought to say it that way, but the divine just, whoo. I hope somebody was writing that one down. Right? You're going to say, Sandra, did you remember when you said X, Y, and Z? And I'm going to say, no, I was full of the Holy Ghost. But it's basically that way. Everything that we've expected or expect in our now moment has already been done. We're multidimensional. Whoa, does that not blow your mind? Yeah, it probably does blow your mind, and your mind is saying, oh, I got it. And your higher being is saying, yes, come on, come forward with it. Bring it forward a little bit more. And your mind, your ego is saying, no, I can't play there, because that means that there's more to me than I've been sharing with you. It's not that your ego is lying to you. It's just more to you than your ego knew. Right? It didn't understand, or it doesn't understand that chaos is not bad, because the divine is organized chaos. When you look at the stars, and when scientists show you what the cosmos is swirling, of course, to the mind that thinks of everything in a linear prospect, that's chaos. That's chaotic. But that's the divine. That's the infinite. So then Ross says, Therefore, the concept of moving through the black hole of the ultimate spiritual gravity well, we move through this gravity well. Gravity is just, we're creating gravity. We're telling gravity that we want you, gravity, to keep us contained and walking on this earth platform. But what if we tell gravity that we want to leap wherever we go? And we want to leap high, then gravity's going to do it for you. What is gravity? Come on, guys. It's energy waiting to serve. Gravity, the ultimate spiritual gravity well, and coming immediately into the next octave, misses the sub concept or your corneas in your eyes of the portion of the process that is timeless. You can't see the timeless with our physical eyes, but there's a part of you that does. Back to you, Marcus. Woo. I'm just saying, are we off to a good roll?
Well, I had some really beautiful conversations over the weekend at Serpent Mound for the fall equinox ceremonies, and just really good conversations of expanding our mind and just opening up to looking through multiple different perspectives about things in life. And one of those things was technology. And, we kind of just discussed our views and different views. And ultimately, what I shared was, the more that we can dissolve separation with ourself and things outside of us, then we can find a harmony, we can find balance, we can find where we can see that there is value. And yes, there is side effects. But yes, it's also, more than anything, based off of our own intentions of what it is that we do with the technology. And then that kind of just went into, every other aspect of our life, and kind of coming to a remembrance that everything in creation is basically a neutral force, neutral form. And then we are the ones with our intentional energy, conscious or unconscious. We then amplify that into that form. And that is how we experience that form, is through that frequency that we put into it. And then it reflects back to us. So with that being said, another question that she had asked me was how is it that I do what I do on social media? What's my approach? How is it that it doesn't really affect me and I'm able to come on here so consistently and do what I do? And it was really just a similar thing with that. It was, I kind of take my social media and, I grab it by the horns and I take action. I take control of what my social media field is going to be like. And with that being said, I come on and I do what I intend to do when I come on my social media, which is spaces like this. And I try to carve around that intention with all my social media usage. And with that, I also, go through my friends, and I make sure that my friends are aligned with that as well. Because if you're wanting to fully align with that, including, scrolling on your feed and seeing things that support that, then, you may want to wash out the friends list that you have because of the things that could be contaminating your field. on your social media. There's ways to be able to create your own individual experience with everything in this creation. And we do it one way or another. We're always creating our own perspective and our own experience with something. So, instead of bypassing or instead of just allowing things to happen and just going with it, instead we take the action, we take the steps, take control of what is going to be coming into our field, at least to the best of our ability, by taking those steps. And then along with that, you know, for me personally, coming on here and staying true to my intention of what I'm doing, it has allowed me to be able to connect with people around the world, help them heal and help them become aware of themselves in a better way. So for that, it was kind of like, seeing that happen and take place, and then continuing to fuel that and continuing to do that and repeat it and keep on taking the steps. So, long story short, with all of this is you are definitely the center of your reality in your life, in this existence, this third dimension. And that is happening whether you're conscious or unconscious of it. It's happening right now in this moment as well, with whatever thought form is going through your head right now. And you're choosing to do something or not do something with that thought form right now in this moment. And it's always happening continuously, even right now in this moment now. So it's never going to stop. It's always continuous. And we can get back into that remembrance that's continuous. Then, I mean, there's so many things that can come with that. I mean, including like a relief on the nervous system, a relief of depression and anxiety, because we realize that we're wholeness and we're in wholeness with everything else as wholeness. And I've been like, the weekend was just so beautiful, like sharing these type of perspectives with people, especially when I was giving readings. I could just like see how it really shifted them in a really like a snap of a finger. Like there's certain things that you can say to human beings on a like universal level, and if you really know how to say it, you can say it to where you can really quickly shift an imbalance that they're kind of stuck on in their mental. And that happened this weekend. And for me, it just came back to bringing it back in to them, because a lot of them were coming to me with, I feel lost. I feel like I don't know what to do next. So then what came to me to share was just like breaking it down that like when we close out cycles of our life and then we're getting ready to come into a new cycle of our life, we kind of hit this space where it's like a void or it's like an in-between space. And oftentimes we may not like be conscious of what that is or that we're in that space. So we think that we're lost, or we think that we are just don't know what to do and things like that. But the way I explained it was, so you recognize that you're coming out of something, you're coming out of a cycle. And now it's not really about, what is the universe going to tell me is next for me? Or what is the universe going to do for me next? I help them redirect it to, it's really more so about what is your intention and what is it that you want to create and do moving forward into this new cycle, coming out of this old cycle of your life. And then from your intentions and your core values and focuses, you then amplify that forward into what this next cycle of your life is going to be. And oftentimes when we get caught up on waiting on the outside world to decide it for us, what we can find is that we'll either fall into old patterns, we'll become stagnant, like we'll feel like we're lost or confused, or we will start blaming and shaming and like all these different things, when really it's just the universe trying to remind you that it's all about you. You're the co-creator here. You're the one with the free will. You're the one that is a sovereign being on this planet to create. What is it that you want this next phase of your life to be? What is it that you want to move forward with? And then do the steps, do the things to support that. So I just wanted to share that. Back to you.
It just kind of makes me want to cry at the same time. Not tears of sorrow, but tears of growth, right? Because we are the creators. We are the one true creator. And when I say that, anything that I'm going through right now, or I've been through, or actually still going through, because as spiritual people, as spiritual beings, we want to spiritually bypass being human, feeling and emotions and the not so good feelings, or the being afraid, or being thrown in all the chaos. And what Ra is saying is the chaos is part of the reality, part of what we're supposed to learn, right? That, one moment you're learning how not to say why me, and then life comes around again with a situation or a circumstance that might kind of sort of be the same. At least I know for me it is. And I was fighting so hard to not listen to my ego say that why me again, to be, to stay not a victim, when my ego was had learned to say why now, because that was my next growth moment, or it is or will be my next growth moment of what I'm going through. It's part of my unknown. It's part of what Ra says. You can ask. He tells the questioner, you can ask me the same question over and over again, just in a different way. I'm going to give you the same answer. And if it's something that I can't give you an answer to because it usurps your free will, or the free will, or the free collective will of those that I'm trying to serve, I'm not going to do it. No matter how you ask me. But you can ask yourself. You can go inward and ask your higher being, and your higher being is not going to lie to you. It's gonna give you many, many, many options of how to perceive it, of how to grow through it, or grow from it, or grow within it, or how to turn it inside out, so that you can see it with not just your physical eyes, but you can see it with everything that is in the next consciousness. We are here to grow. And sometimes the unknown, bumping up against it, whether you want to call it quantum field, whether you want to call it illusion, whether you want to call it matrix or awareness, whether you want to call it Almighty God or Jehovah or Jesus consciousness, the service of energy does not care what you call it. All it cares is if you give it a command to be what you want it to be. So I know for me right now, it's saying, Sandee, what do you want? And I have to go, and I'm constantly sitting with Sandee. But the thing is, I've been fighting those one things that I don't want to let go of, and that's my tears. Because I'm not afraid, but I'm scared. Because unknown right now for me, I'm kind of going, well, wait a second, why now? I've allowed that question to be. It doesn't put me in a victimhood. It just says, okay, why now? It's part of a discernment. That's all Ra wants you to do, is be these discerning divine creators, that when you're going through whatever you're going through, all they want you to do is just have a little bit of discernment from it. It doesn't mean you have to ignore and say, I'm not afraid. Because how can you change something that you don't acknowledge? How can you alchemize something that you don't know exists, needs to be alchemized, whether it's within you or whether you see it outside and you need to go inward and go, what am I projecting? That's all Ra is saying. What are you projecting? And all energy wants to do is to create for you. All life wants to do is keep the cycle going. So when it asks you a question, be an active listener so you can give it the best answer that you have. Right? So the questioner says, our astronomers have noticed that light from spiral galaxies is approximately 70 times less than it should be, considering the calculated mass of galaxy. The questioner says, I was wondering if that was due to the increase of spiritual mass in the galaxy in what we call the white dwarf star. We're reading this. Maybe Marcus can help us understand what scientists consider a white dwarf star to be, because I don't know. I mean, yes, I studied my science, but come on. I didn't listen as well as I should have. I know what I've heard white dwarf star before, but I cannot give you the total calculations based on what this the questioner is asking. Ra says, I am Ra. This is basically correct and is a portion of the way or process of creation cycle. And before I go to the next question that the questioner asked, I'm going to ask you, do you know what a white dwarf star is? My first question is, how powerful is it? How could we consider, with our all the technology that we have or even had at that time that this channeling was going on, consider that to be the light of that to be so small? Right? Back to you, Marcus.
Were you speaking to me? Oh, okay.
Yes.
I wasn't sure if you were speaking directly to me.
I needed to take the pause, so I was waiting for you. If you had muted or was looking at something, I was waiting until you looked at me. Can you tell us off, what a white dwarf star is? Why the questioner maybe made a reference to this? Okay.
Okay. So a white dwarf star is, they are hot, dense remnants of long dead stars. They are stellar cores left behind when stars exhaust their fuel supplies and blow their gases into space. These objects mark the final stage of evolution for most stars, including our sun. Plus, they play a crucial role in helping us understand the evolution of the universe. A single white dwarf contains roughly the mass of our sun, but in a volume comparable to Earth. Their small size makes white dwarfs difficult to find. No white dwarfs can be seen with the unaided eye. The light they generate comes from the slow, steady release of incredible amounts of energy stored up during billions of years as a star's nuclear powerhouse. White
Wow.
dwarfs are born when a star shuts down. A star spends most of its life in a balance between gravity and outward gas pressure. The weight of a couple octillions tons of gas pressing down onto the core causes hydrogen nuclei to fuse together, forming helium. This is called nuclear fusion. The steady release of thermonuclear energy from this process prevents the star from collapsing on itself. But eventually, a star will run out of hydrogen in its center. At this point, it shifts to fusing helium into carbon and oxygen, and hydrogen fusion moves to a shell surrounding the core. The star inflates and becomes a red giant. For most stars, our sun included, this is the beginning of the end. The star expands, stellar winds blow at an increasingly ferocious rate, and its outer layer begins to escape the pull of gravity. As the red star evaporates, it leaves behind its exposed core a newly born white dwarf. There you are.
Whoop, there it is. So now we understand what the questioner was asking. And the fact that Ross says this is basically correct and is a portion of the way or the process of creation cycles. Kind of like, the pendulum swings all the way one way and then it comes back, and then are you ready to create again when it needs to swing again? Everything doesn't really truly end. What happens? It transforms. It transforms. Woo! There it is. It means that you have to know what you know about what you want to transform in order to transform it. Did you hear the divine? You have to know what you want to know about what you want to transform before you can transform it. You have to acknowledge what's going on. You got a foreign body, your body can get sick. You got to go find out what's going on. Even if you do things holistically. Doesn't mean you have to argue with the doctor. Just let the doctor tell you, hey, it's your kidneys. Then you're off to go get your holistic things that take your kidneys and work with your body. If you've got something crazy going on in your mind and it's kind of giving you you talk to your psychiatrist or your psychologist, they give you their best guess, and then you go and say, okay, got it. And then you go to the next layer of who you want to be. You say, found it. Okay, I got to go deal with my root. Okay, I got to go deal with my sacral. Okay, you don't have to spend any time arguing with anybody, because that's in energy expending out to create something that you don't want to create. But you want to take that energy and say, thank you very much for your information. Let me go figure out what I can do holistically to rid myself of my sinus headache. Yeah. If that's what you choose to do, that's the creator. Nothing is destroyed because it's energy. Energy has never been created. Energy can never be destroyed. Why? Come on, people. We know it's the divine. It's the divine seeking itself and turning itself into the form of what you want to create. The universe itself created the logos called the stars and all the planets and all the Milky Ways and all the things that the heavenly bodies or celestial bodies that we see in faraway galaxies that we can only just theorize about. And think about this. While he was reading, the scientists say those were dead stars dispersing and being created again. Not dead, but come on. If nothing can be destroyed, then it's not dead. Holy shit! It ain't dead. That's our hypothesis as human beings. It's the universe creating itself again. Holy moly, Batman! You just telling me I need to put on my tights and I need to surf around the universe with my cape on because I'm the creator.
Well, think about this, you know, think of something deep, like no matter what we transform into or what we choose to transform into, there's a purpose already set in place for that to happen and for you to experience it and have a timeline for it. No matter what you choose to transform into or don't even mean to transform into, there's already a purpose in place for that experience, no matter what transformation you go through. Positive vibration, negative vibration. There's already something right there in place for that to be experienced. And then you can continue on with your journey and have more moments of choices to shift that. And then it just continues on, just shifting. And no matter what it is that you shift into, it's a valid experience. And there's no right or wrong to it. It's an attunement of experience. And like, wow, when you can, rest on that as your foundation, your bed of life, have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Get out there and create. Let it flow. Because, man, we're here. And
we're here.
Yeah, we ain't going anywhere.
No. So with that, the divine says active consciousnesses, right? This one is, I've had this bookmark on here for a while, but now I understand why. It says how energy works. Okay, this is another channeling. Adamus Saint Germain says, now let's talk about how energy works, because it's an important part of understanding the acts or the act of consciousness. Everything starts with consciousness. The circumpont or the circle dot is an ancient symbol that represents your consciousness. Remember, here's the dot, here's the circle, here's you, here's me, here's Marcus. We're the focal point of our consciousness. Energy works this way. The divine says, just to show you the dot, energy works this way. You, out and out and out and out and out, back to you. Life is always going to come back around to you. Energy can never be created and it can't die. You can just transform it. And your life that you're living, we use that word life, L-I-F-E. You can capitalize it or use all lowercase letters. Doesn't matter. It's your life. Life is energy saying, Sandee, what do you want me to do? Marcus, what do you want me to do? I'm here to serve you. I'm here because of you. Your life is happening because of you. It's not happening against you unless you resist it. And if you resist it it comes back around to say, are you still resisting me? Oh yeah, okay, be back. And it comes back around again. Why? Because it's serving you. So here's this point again. Here's the circle. All that energy, all that consciousness around you, your quantum energy, your spiritual energy, your inner body energy, your chakras. This is all you and everything around you. It doesn't go anywhere without you. It doesn't sit still and say, well, when you come back to me. It goes where you go when you go. It does what you want when you want it. Whether you're conscious of it or not, it's interacting with you. Why? Because that's what life energy does. You are the dot. You are the dot. I am the dot. So I can't, I could say there's some shit that I thought that I wouldn't have created that stuff. But when I sit down and I actually say, well, yeah, I did. Okay. And then when I say, now what do I want to do with it now? Well, I can't uncreate it. I can just transform it. Did you hear that? You can't uncreate it. You can just transform it. You, the dot, starts telling life what you want done, and then it starts going out into the universe, becoming form, until what it comes back around and says, do we still want to do this? And if you're resisting, no matter where you are, if you're resisting in being a victim, or you're resisting in being, confused or misunderstood, or, then it's just going to come, it's going to go, all right, be back. And it'll come back to you. You're the dot. Old energy, new energy, it doesn't matter. You are energy creating energy. And I just said creating, but creating meaning transforming. You're the creator creating energy. You're transforming it. You're making it again. You're making it become something else. And guess what? There's infinite possibilities. It's not one way, one size fits everything and all things. And you have to fit into, you have to be a version of Marcus, even though you are the other self of Marcus, or the other version of Sandee, even though you are a version or an expression of my other self. You don't have to be me. You can be you. And you can play it out until you're tired of it, or until as such time as you understand that it's no longer serving you for your highest and greatest good. And as Ra says, then you go back to one and do it again. The one true creator, you go back to him every night when you go to sleep. That's where you go. That's the now moment, where you go and say, you give thanks that as you lie down, you're going to rest, relax, recoup, or regenerate, rejuvenate, and restart again. You gotta tap in to the one true you. Did you know that's the universe's way of allowing the energy of the universe to have a moment of balance while you sleep? So you can restart. It's like turning off the computer or going in. And I found a great thing 2 or 3 years ago. My son told me, she says, Mom, you don't have to turn off your TV, not TV, but your computer all the time. You can just go in there and click put it to sleep. And then when you hit the button, it wakes up. And then you click the little arrow and it reboots itself, and you don't have to turn it off all the time. That's what sleep does. It gives you a moment to reboot. So it gives you that moment. And then you get to decide in that next now moment when you wake up, where do you want to go? You can go back to the old shit, or you could say, "Oh, today's a new day. I'm not going back there. I'm gonna think of, I'm going to put myself in that vibrational moment where something, there can be a infinite possibility of something new happening in the situation or circumstance that's present with me now. I'm going to look at it a different way. Oh, I just figured out that I've been able to look at 3D, my 3D situation in a 4D consciousness. Wow. I'm going to look at it that way, or 5D or 6D, or if you're 144D, who knows where you are, how many times you've shifted, but you've just been resisting. Do you know what I mean? It's about you. You're all of the circle. I don't care how far away Marcus and I are. Our consciousnesses are connected. He just happens to be expressing on the East Coast. He just happens to go to sleep 3 hours earlier than I do, and gets to wake up in a new now moment 3 hours earlier than I do. But he's still expressing in a now moment. He's still that other self of me that's expressing. Holy shit. So the questioner says, thank you. I was also wondering if the first density corresponded somehow to the color red, and the second to the color orange, and the third to the color yellow, and so on in the densities corresponding to the colors in perhaps a way that the basic vibration which forms the photons that forms the core of all atomic particles would have a relationship to colors in the density, and that vibration would step up for seconds, thirds, and fourth density corresponding to the increase in the vibration of colors. Is any of this correct? Hold on a second. I've got to close a window. It's kind of bright here. The sun is talking to us, baby. There we go. The sun is talking to us, or talking to me. And I answered it with, yes, you can shine through just a little bit but I must be able to read. So do you get what he's asking? He's asking the correlation of he's back at, the chakras and the colors, and, how does it correlate to all of the densities that Earth consciousness has moved in and through. First density, second density, third density, right? So then Ra says, I am Ra. This is basically, this is more correct than you have stated. Firstly, you are correct in posting a quantum, if you will, as the nature of each density, and further correct in assuming that these quanta, Quanta, may be seen to be the vibratory natures corresponding to colors as you grasp this word. However, it is also true, as you have suspected, but not asked, that each density is the metaphysical characteristic complex of its rays. Thus, in first density, the red ray is the foundation of all that is to come. Your root. It is all that you are, and all that is. It is all that has happened, and it is all that is to come. It supports you. It's supported. It's called the root. It's grounded in earth consciousness. It's grounded to Mother Earth. It's grounded to the earth plane. It's rooted there. Some of the roots might be uprooted, but that's only because of how you're telling energy to serve you. But your roots are there. You were born that way. You were born tethered to earth consciousness for service. Service, either service to all, which is wholeness, or service to self. Doesn't matter which one you choose. You're rooted. You were born that way. You weren't. We think we're born broken. We're not born broken. We're just born veiled. No matter what people terminology we use in the English, in the human language, we're not broken. And definitely our souls are higher being don't come broken. They're veiled, but they're not broken. They're the most perfectly unperfect thing about you. Did you get that? They're the most perfectly unperfect thing or entity about you. They're perfect because they come from the realm of the absolute, all that is and all that is not, or heaven, or whatever you want to call it. But they're imperfect because they come to learn. They come to expand. They come to grow. Then he says, in the second density, the orange ray is that of movement and growth of the individual. Just like the second density of earth growing, becoming trees and water, taking on those specific forms, becoming dirt, becoming air. Right? It's growth. It's growth of the individual. Earth consciousness was becoming conscious. And striving toward the next, striving to grow again, to expand again. Ross says this ray striving towards the yellow ray of self-consciousness or self-conscious manifestation of a social nature as well as an individual nature. So social nature was the all of earth was talking to itself. The plants and the ground and everything was in communication with each other to grow, to expand. It wasn't fighting against each other. Third density being the equivalent and so forth. Each density being primarily its ray plus the attraction of the following ray, pulling it forward in evolution and becoming extent, coloring or shading of the chief color of that density. Growth, expansion, shifting, and evolution. Back to you, Marcus. Yummy. Back to you, Marcus.
You know, when we're able to come into this remembrance of the relationship of our chakras and us, then we can really begin to go into what can be more of a more accelerated or more quantum-like healing process and recalibration of ourselves. When you learn about the chakras, you learn that the chakras are basically a center as well as basically a gateway for the different multidimensional layers and bodies of your human being to be able to be experienced in parallel, connected fashion, synchronized fashion, so to say. So, for example, I have a whole series teaching about this on the YouTube channel, Light Body Awareness 101. And when you look at the layers of the human being, and matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and pull up an image real quick. And what I'm going to explain to you here is just the relation of how the chakras and our energy light body is this connective point for our emotional well-being, our mental well-being, and our spiritual well-being being connected to our physical human reality. Okay, here we go. I got an image for y'all. So when you look at this image here, so when you look at this image right here, you can see that there is the 7 chakras, and then there's these multiple layers or bodies of energy and light surrounding the physical human body. So the first layer out from your physical body is your energy or light body. This energy or light body is basically a etheric blueprint for your physical body or your physical holographic avatar to be able to have a matrix coding or a blueprint system for it to function. So with that being said, this energy or light body is a bridge or a gateway for the rest of your layers or bodies, which is the emotional body, the mental body, the astral body, and there's more beyond that as well. It is that bridge and that binding point for all those layers to be expressed and experienced through your physical body. So without your light body being active, without it being online, without it being flowing healthy and properly, then we're going to be prone to having less consciousness and less living life flowing through us. Therefore, we're more prone to dis-ease, as well as things like depression and anxiety, feeling lost and disassociated from our physical life. These all manifest, and one way of that in a holistic approach is understanding that there is parts of our energy body that are blocked up, overactive, torn, leaking, as well as other different variables that take place throughout life. So when we go into spiritual hygiene or spiritual maintenance and self-care, we're helping restructure and rebuild that aura, that energy field. And this is where our self-care comes in. So once we start fortifying and rebuilding that energy body and getting it online and getting it activated, and ways that you can tell that it's online activated is you'll feel like you have more magnetism and electrical energy. You'll feel more supported naturally within yourself. You'll feel more stable within yourself. You'll feel clear inside of your mind. And you'll have balanced emotions. Those are signs of having a healthy energy field. Now, each of the 7 chakras have different variables and different characteristics that correspond in our life, just as we've read about here with Ra, talking about the root and the sacral. So with us knowing now that the chakras are a part of the energy body and they act as a bridge or a blueprint system for your emotional, mental, and spiritual energies to be able to be experienced through your physical body, then that means each of the 7 chakras have different characteristics and different purposes for different emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of our human life. So when you go into the chakras and you do chakra work, you can start to then dive directly into those different aspects connected to those chakras. So with that being said, when you start altering that chakra and bringing balance to it, you start to bring balance to the emotional aspects that are connected to that chakra, as well as the mental aspects that are connected to that chakra, and any other aspects that are connected to that chakra then begin to rebalance in a kind of domino effect, synchronized way. So it's almost like a little cheat code in a way of, bypassing a lot of density and bypassing the most slowest way of healing ourselves, which is from the 3D or physical, and trying to heal from the outside in. It becomes more rigorous, it becomes more lengthier, and it becomes more of a stress on the being due to having to move through so much density in order to try to heal what is at the root and what is at the core of our being. And that's why you see in this world with this mainstream medical system, they're very much physical 3D healing mindset. With that being said, they're trying to heal from the outside in. They're trying to just fix symptoms, and that's it. Instead of going to the core, which is going to be in your mental body, your emotional body, and your spiritual body. And then we get things like, pharmaceuticals that are basically like Band-Aids. They don't actually regenerate, rejuvenate, and bring repairing to the being. Where you can actually go quantum, or you can go into your energy body or light body and restructure your chakras that are connected to the different aspects that are causing disease inside of your being, and restructure and heal in that way. So I will leave there for now. I don't want to go too much more deeper, and I'll let you guys digest that. And if you have any questions, just reach out. I love teaching about the chakras and their actual detailed relation to our human life and how to develop a healthy relationship with our chakras as they are part of our vehicle, and they help operate us to be able to experience our emotions and mental aspects. And if we don't have them online, it can cause many different struggles and disease to manifest. Back to you.
Ashe, ashe. Ashe, ashe.
Ooh.
Active consciousness. Level 1 says core. The first level, the one that is closest to you, is called core energy. It's always been the same quantity of energy that has come into you. As you've come into the world, it's been that same energy. It can never be taken by anyone or harmed by anything. It's your core energy, your own personal energy. It can never be mixed or intermingled with the energy of another soul being. For the most part, because it is so close to you, you aren't even aware of your core energy. But it's always been there. It has no mass. It has no color, but it is absolutely clear and pure. It never changes. You can't give it away to anyone, and nothing can pollute it. This core energy is absolutely yours, and it is the closest thing there is to divine passion. That's your higher being. That's the core of you. That's what I say when the divine says through me, sit at the seat of your higher being, of your soul. That's your core. It can never change. You can never lose it. Level 2, crystal. The next level is called crystal energy. Crystal energy was created the moment you encountered other soul beings, when you brought yourself, your awareness, to theirs. That melding and that bringing together of soul beings created this next level called crystal energy. It is very, very pure, but it took 2 or more beings of consciousness coming together to create this level. Once again, it is something that you rarely access or use. It's very beautiful and refined energy. But because it's not exclusively yours, it does not have the same level of purity as your core energy. You'll find out why I'm reading this. The core energy is wonderful energy to tap into, particularly when working with other people. If you're a healer or a facilitator doing a group project or somehow working with others, tap into this creative or crystal level of energy. It will bring a whole new level of clarity and passion to your co-creation. Crystal energy is always present. It is all around you. It's a now energy. It's a very strong energy, and it changes. It has a variance as the strength fluctuates from time to time. This crystal energy is one of the reasons why people come back together in groups again and again. They're warriors in one lifetime, together as a family in the next, because there is a crystal energy for that group. Eventually, it may turn into karma or all sorts of other things, but crystal energy created by a group can stay intact for as long as it is. It is. It simply is. Your family has its own type of crystal energy to it. The questioner asked, then boldly or then bodily, or then bodily bodily energy centers for an individual, assuming that the individual evolves in a straight line from first through the eighth density, would then be activated to completion if everything worked as it should. If everything works in a straight line, wouldn't they be who they're supposed to be if it works like it should? Would each chakra be activated to completion and greatest intensity by the end of the experience of each density? Now, what I want to let you know is that in this, there is another level. Level 3 is cosmic energy. Level 4 is earth energy. But yet the questioner is saying, if everything works as it should in a straight line, would everything be complete? With the greatest intensity by the end of the experience in each density. That you experience each density, each chakra. The divine in me says they're all working in accordance with each other. Why wouldn't you not experience them all quantumly? Did you get that? Ra says, I am Ra. Hypothetically speaking, this is correct. However, the fully activated being is rare. Much emphasis is laid upon the harmonies and the balance of individuals. It is necessary for graduation across densities for the primary energy centers to be functioning in such a way to communicate intelligent infinity and to appreciate the bask in this light in all of its purity. It's not about finishing the race. It's about being the divine creator, seeking itself out and communicating itself as it creates. It's not seeking to win a race. It's not seeking a straight line. Ross says, it is necessary for graduation across the densities for the primary energy centers to be functioning in such a way as to communicate with an intelligent infinity and to appreciate the bask in the light of all its purity. However, to fully activate each energy center is the mastery of few, for each center has a veritable speed of rotation and activity. The important observation is to be made once all necessary centers are activated to the minimal necessary degree is the harmony and balance between these energy centers. Harmony and balance, one upon the other, supporting each other, growth and expansion, shifting and evolving, and then doing it again. The questioner says, thank you. Taking as an example the transition between second and third density, when this transition takes place, does the frequency of vibration, which forms the photons, which is called the core of all the particles of density, does it increase in a frequency corresponding to second density, or the color orange to the frequency that we measure as the color yellow? What I am getting at is, do all the vibrations of that form or that form the density the basic vibration of the photon increase in a quantum fashion over a relatively short period of time. Ra says, I am Ra. This is correct. Then you see within each density the gradual upgrading of vibratory levels. It's not about, winning a race. It's about shifting and expanding through each of your chakras, or each of your levels. Ra if you go back and you read Ra, or you have other people who are helping you on YouTube, there's many people that expand in that one thing that Ra is saying is our higher beings have a choice that they're making. Our bodies are not the only free will choice being. Our higher being has a free will choice of itself. It's making a choice between the negative and positive polarities. The positive polarity is service to self, therefore service to others, therefore service to self. Service to others means service to wholeness, and you're included in that. Or service to self being the negative polarity, which you see a lot of. Just go look at the dogmas of the political system or the old religion or whatnot, and why see how people are servicing themselves regardless of other people being taken advantage of. That's service to self. But guess what? The divine says that's an expression, and other people get to express that. Whether it's for your highest and greatest good or my highest and greatest good, they still get to express it. Why? Because their higher being is making a choice as well. That means that when you think about, they're in their root, yes. They're in their sacral, yes. They're in their solar plexus, yes. But they bypass the main ingredient that pulls together the lower three and the upper three, and that actually balances. It's the heart chakra. How can you have service to self and not care about anybody? Because you're not in your heart chakra. The heart chakra pulls together the universal authenticity of one love, of the law of one, the law of love. They're together. That's what the divine wants you to know now. It's not a right or it's not a wrong. It's not that they better get themselves together. No, they're living and experiencing a life. They made a choice. They get to decide at some point in time, they get to decide if it's for their highest and greatest good. But you get to you have that opt-out button. You can say, hey, I don't want to play on your side of the playground. I'm going to choose something else. And you and your higher being get to go and play in another area of the playground. That's your opt-out button. It's called free will. The divine says, sit at the seat of your soul. Do it as a triune, multi-dimensional and spiritual being. Or not. There's no judgment. That's what Ra is saying. They're not here to judge. They're just here to answer some questions as best they can without usurping your free will or the free will choices of your higher being. They're here as guides. Everybody gets to see their beingness from a different perspective. What is my perspective might not be someone else's. And if I feel it's working for my highest and greatest good, I'm going to keep doing it for me. But if somebody else is saying, nope, not going that way, I'm not going to hinder them. I'm going to say, go enjoy your story. It took me a long time to learn that I don't have to take people with me. I used to always want to, find out something new about the divine, or just a new way to see it. And I wanted to make sure that everybody goes with me. But it's not my job to take you with me. It's my desire to give you the seed and say, if you want to plant it, okay, you can. If you want me to help you water it, okay, I will. But they got to ask. I can't assume. But I also have to work on my chakras being in alignment for my highest and greatest good. Not just the ends justifies the means. Back to you, Marcus.
And with all this being said about the chakras, I also want to remind us that this is a continuous operation. It's a continuous happening of our chakras and our energy centers. It's not like a destination to align your chakras or balance them, because you're a living being. And as a living being, that means you're continuously in motion, and you're ever changing, and you're going through experiences in every single moment, including right now again. And yeah, you may feel like your chakras are balanced right now in this moment, but you could, next thing you know, a family member comes in, they slam the door, and then they scare you and they put you in fear. Next thing you know, your root chakra is starting to get a little blocked up now because of that fear energy. Or, you wake up tomorrow and next thing you know, you get in an argument with your partner. Your heart chakra starts feeling a little blocked up. I mean, it's one thing about this life that we're in. It's a continuation that's always in motion, and it requires our responsibility of keeping up with the maintenance of our being. And we came into this creation knowing that taking on a human being life requires us to take care of our individual human beings aspects. And if we're not capable of taking care of certain aspects, then we have fellow human beings that help us. But yeah, so just a reminder of that, of like balancing your chakras is not a destination. And even when you do get your chakras rebalanced, there is still that continuation right afterwards. I mean, you could literally get your chakras rebalanced and then literally 10 seconds right after have an experience that brings one of your chakras out of balance. So key is staying present with yourself, staying present with your system and with your being, and seeing where you need attention and where you need a little bit more love and healing, and trying to stay as present as you can as you go through this life. And it's definitely not meant to be perfect. It's not going to be one size fits all, but it's really just about know thyself, being in tune with yourself and knowing what you need in each moment, not somebody else deciding that for you or you waiting on something outside of you to determine that, but tapping in, finding it, taking action, moving forward with your energy. That's how you keep on moving forward, is by seeing what you see, trusting what you see or you sense or you feel with your intuition, then taking action with your 3D physical self. And that's how you alchemize. That's how you continue on. And yes, to all the chakras are a system, so they work simultaneously. With that being said, with what I just mentioned before that, you got to apply that to that as well, knowing that the root could be more overactive than the solar plexus could be, and then the solar plexus could be more blocked than the throat could be, and then kind of like think of it like wheels turning. And then when you tap into that, and some of us that are very psychic can actually like see our chakras and sense where our chakras are spinning at. Um, you'll be able to really see that even though they work together and they're simultaneous, there's still their individualness that factors in and how the functioning of it is going to be. So yes, they all work together, but if you have one overactive and one blocked, then you'll feel the effects of that through that individual chakra, and then it'll trickle into the other chakras, and then it'll be like a whole entire system mess that you have going on. It's really interesting stuff. It's kind of fun to really explore that dimension of yourself when it comes to the healing journey. Back to you.
Definitely is. Definitely. The fact that the raw, the divine, and the questioner keeps that, it seems to me that book 2 is a lot about the chakras, a lot about the energy. It's definitely a know thyself. And this is definitely with what Marcus is saying about having your chakras in alignment, which I thought I did, right? Then life brought me something, right? For whatever the reason is now, in this now moment, about who I'm going to be in this now moment. There's something, the first thing I thought about is, well, how did I get out of alignment? What did I do? You know, that kind of going into that blame mentality, when it's not about blame. It's about going back to, well, if my higher being isn't blaming me, then I can sit with it and go, okay, what in this now moment must I experience, or am I meant to experience now? It's not a why me, it's not a victim state me, but it's a, okay, asking the questions, just like this questioner asked Ra. Because the questioner said, I don't know, I don't understand it. So I'm going to ask it. There's no wrong questions. There's not a wrong question. It's just, you know, there's not a question that you can't ask. You might not get the answer that you believe you're going to get or that you want to hear, right? I definitely wanted to hear that my breast scan was perfect and right now, but that's not what I got. I got something just a little bit more interesting than the last time around that I had something like this, and it was at a 0 and everything was okay. I got a different answer. Now I actually can say it here, this on this platform. I'm actually saying that I feel comfortable to say it. And yes, I will have to have surgery. And yet, who am I going to be doing that? These are the questions. Not where did I go wrong? What happened? Why didn't I keep my chakras in? Maybe they were. Maybe they were in total balance for a second. And maybe there's a reason why this form body is going through this. And I have to sit at the seat of my soul and ask that question to my higher being. But guess what? I'm sitting there going, I'm ready for the answer that my higher being has for me. not the expectation of what I expect, not some grandiose, spiritual, just be there for the answer. Maybe the answer is that somebody else is going through something deeper than me, and I'm going to help somebody. Could be I'm walking into the office, sitting in the office, and there's somebody that's going to say, hey, I know you, you're Soul Awakening with Sandra. I listen to you, and I get to have a conversation. Who knows? Right? Who knows? So maybe all my chakras are in alignment. Maybe I'm at the next level of life, and life is about to open me up to help someone else, or be in the right place at the right time for someone else to help me. That's called expansion. That's called shifting. That's called wisdom and understanding. Finding it where you never thought it would be. Who knows? Maybe I'm meant to meet my life partner. Do you see what I mean? It's not a negative, not a positive. It's a thing. It's energy that turned into form that you get to bump up against and feel it, and then go, ooh, what do I want to do with this? Maybe it's for me to have this moment right now that somebody is listening, saying, ooh, I can vibe with her. She's like, this is going to be on every platform, everywhere, hearing me talk about something that I'm going through. There's nothing that he's going to cut out. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on Instagram. It's going to be on his Facebook. And it's energy that is creating itself, becoming something for a reason. And or maybe my chakras are out of alignment. Do you see what I mean? Infinite possibilities, baby. Maybe it's to teach me how important these energy centers are. It's called growth and expansion. It's called wisdom. It's called understanding. It's called not beating yourself fucking up and stepping out into a new arena and saying, okay, I'm here. I must need to learn something else. It's not because I've been a bad girl. Growth, expansion, right? It's learning all about the avenues that there are scientists and astronomers, there are physicians and people in the industries that we really don't like, but there are many that are there that are trying to change it. Trying to change how the pharmaceutical companies are trying to change how doctors just treat the symptoms. There are many there that are doing it. And if I remember the terminology, my mother says, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You take the baby out of the bathwater, you change the bathwater, and then you put the baby back in it. And I finally got it. It's when the baby poops or pees in the bathwater. You don't keep bathing the baby in what he's pooped in or what she's peed in. You pull the baby out, you change the bathwater, and you put the baby back in it. You're a body. You're a mind. You are. You're a higher being that has a body. You're a higher being that has a mind. And therefore, you are body, mind, and soul. You are triune. You are multidimensional. And you need to respect each version of you that you are. That's all Ra is saying. And Ra is saying, if we respect you, you can respect yourself, right? If we respect you, if we know who you are, and we're trying to give you the information about who you are, not tell you who you are, but give you the information about who you are, and you get to choose who you are, then know thyself. Know thyself. Love thyself. It's not a straight line and it's not a race. You are at the center or the core of everything that you are as a creator, seeking itself. Allow yourself to make mistakes. That's the only way that you're going to find out that you want something different than what you just went through. It's a mistake, not a mistake. If you want to look at it that way, you just get to go, hey, I tried it and it didn't fit me. Let me take it off. Let me put it on that hanger in the dressing room, or right? When you go to Macy's, that's what you do. You take in 6 items. They give you a little tag that tells you got 6 items, and then you try on what fits you. And then the rest of them you leave in the dressing room for somebody to put back on a shelf for someone else. That's all Ra is saying. Try it on, see if it fits. What fits you might not fit someone else, but it's okay. Right? Everybody's chakras are not going to be 100% like somebody else's. And everybody's version of childhood trauma, it's not going to be the same as somebody else's. Trauma is going to look different. Don't judge yourself by somebody else's trauma. If you want to go back into a past, go back into your own past and then discern it. Don't go back into somebody else's. That's all Ra is saying. One size just doesn't fit all. Back to you, Marcus.
What was that? What was that last segment that you had right there? What was that last thing you started with?
That I started with?
What was that last part you said there?
About not going back into somebody else's past?
No, never mind.
Not judging it by, but the childhood trauma, judging other your traumas instead of judging, expressing other people's trauma. Comparing yourself to other people's trauma, right?
This is what I was going to say. Is I've been learning more and more to not make the main priority of my experiences to be defined.
Yes.
As in, I've stopped trying to always define every single experience I have. Every single thing that I see, everything that comes across me. Because really that thing that we define it with is a temporary illusion. So also when we define things, it creates an attachment. And it also can create a limitation, because then we're putting whatever that is into a box by defining it as a finite thing. So I've literally just naturally, Yeah, and I just like literally started naturally letting go of that. The more that I continued to heal myself and continue to activate my centers, because it ultimately, for me at this point in my reality, it's like it's a waste of time to sit here and always try to define everything mentally when everything is just continuously changing. So for me, instead of trying to find and seek and have to have a definition or a definement label for something, I just see it as this is energy I'm experiencing. What can I be present with the information behind this experience and energy? And this is what I'm going to choose to do with this information and energy. And that's it. Uh, Not even like putting a timetable on it, not even putting like, oh, it's going to take this long for me to do it. It's going to be this long to do that. It's just, no, this is the energy I'm experiencing. This is what I'm taking from it. And this is what I'm going to do with it. And that's just what I do with
Exactly.
everything in my life that I interact with, person, place, or thing. It's an energy field that you're interacting with, and it's going to ever change. And that's just the
And
continuation.
that's yeah. And that's just it. It's no end result, just the now moment. No end result, just that now moment. And and
That's right.
and 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 it kind of it also eventually will help you not have to look at the past if you're in the now, just like Marcus was saying. Hey, I'm just going to be in the moment. I'm going to be in the flow. The flow is going to be the flow. I'm going to create from that. I'm not going to look at the end game. I'm not going to look at what I'm not going to go with expectation. I'm just going to be in the moment. Right? I'm just going to be in
Expectation is such a thief, I swear.
it. Yeah, it
Expectation
steals
just
so much.
robs you of the beauty of the present. Man,
Yeah.
I can just think of so many scenarios where it's like you're sitting there perfectly fine, you have a great day, you know, you're doing your thing. Next thing you know, someone asks you a question about 5 months from now, and then they start pressuring you about it. It's like you start
Yeah.
getting all, you know, like tense and like scattered, and you're just like, what the heck is going on? Like,
Yeah. What are you going to
why,
do 5 years from now? How are you going to make
why,
that work?
yeah, like,
Yeah.
why do you want me to think that far ahead when there's so many different things that I can create and do by being present all the way up until that 5 years or all the way up until that 5 months from now, that I will
Yeah.
be in a completely different reality of the timeline I'm experiencing, you know, tomorrow, next week, after I do a workshop or after I heal this part of myself. So, like, why is it that I'm pressuring myself or I'm getting pressured by others or pressuring others to sit here and build up all these expectations of different illusions and possibilities instead of helping them just or helping myself be present so I can
Yeah.
make sure that I am carving and creating what it is that's going to happen in the future through my embodiment in the present.
Oh, you said that so perfectly. You said that so perfectly. It's about embodying your present. But see, we've been conditioned to to think that far out. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
we've been conditioned that way since grade school.
It's part of
Since we,
the
yeah,
Gregorian system.
yeah. Yeah, but guess what? At that point when we were being conditioned, even though we weren't being conditioned, the divine was saying, yeah, that's the story. I'm seeking myself as you telling that story, experiencing that story. And
Hmm.
that the divine didn't say bad, 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 you're going to go to hell, you. But if that's somebody's story, then a version of that hell is going to show up, you know, or whatnot. And the divine is not going to say that's a negative or anything. It's going to say, oh, this is me as that version. Oh, okay. Right. Because there are infinite possibilities, negative and positive. however we spin the energy, however we spin the energy, however we spin the story. Oh my God, put it that way, you get to take a fully developed script and chuck it and sit with your soul and say, I just got rid of that. That don't make sense that I'm going through that again. Okay, are we going to sit here and write a new script? Do you want me to write it with you? Or if you don't, I'm going to write it anyway, and guess what? It's got to play out. Why? Because I now know that the divine is moving through me and seeking to be me, Sandra, in this scenario called whatever the scenario is called. It's seeking to be me. And if I decide not to see the end result, or sit in expectation of my life in the end, because there are some people that will, when they read the book, they'll read the last chapter before they start reading the book. My thing is, why even do that? But guess what? The divine says if they want to do it, they can. See, I don't stress people when they've watched the movie before I do. They get stressed because they want to talk about the movie. And they stress themselves out because they say, oh, I can't tell you about it. I can't do this. And I said, don't stress yourself out. Tell me about the movie. Because what you're doing, I tell people, give me your perception of the movie. Go ahead and tell me about the movie. Telling me about the movie won't stop me from going to see it, because I'm going to go see the movie with my own thought patterns on it. You could tell me how it ends and how you didn't like it, and I'm still going to go see the movie. Why I know I can do that is because, they've got people that get paid to tell you if a movie is good or not. That's based on their perception. That's like a person who only reviews or likes love stories, going to see a sci-fi movie or a horror movie and giving it a thumbs down because that's not their genre. I'm not going to listen to them. I'm going to go, okay, they gave me their end result. I'm going to go watch the movie and do it myself. I don't stress at that. If you started at the back of the book, go ahead. It's okay for you. I'm going to start at the front of the book. The only time that I'll jump ahead to the back of the book if the book is redundant to me. If I see the writer writing stuff just to fill chapters and saying shit over and over again, I'll go to the back of the book to see how it ends. That's me. But will I share that with other people? No. Not unless we're in a conversation about it, and I'll tell them, for me, my perception was that it was redundant and I had to go to read the end of the book, and this is how I felt about it. If they ask. If they don't ask, I don't share. I don't give them the end result, because I think they need to be in the here and now of it. But that's my perception of what I think they need to be, not theirs. Right? Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. That's all Ra is saying. He's not the end all, be all of all this information that's ready for us as we're embarking on this on our life stories. What works for you in the book of Ra, or the raw materials, you might not see the same thing in the raw materials that you see in the divine design, or that you see in the act of consciousness. You're going to get a little bit of something from one area, a little bit of something of another area, and before you know it, you have a puzzle of your whole life going, "Ooh, all this shit fits. I feel good. I feel good." No. Right? That's how you're going to feel until it's time to change again. And with that, I'd say we're at 6:30. We did 2 hours.
Yeah.
An hour and a half.
9:30 over here. I got some dinner to go eat.
Yeah, me too. I got to feed my little puppy wuppy and feed myself. And this, I'm going to tell you, this is the fact that this is about your chakras. I think it's about you knowing thyself.
That's right. It's not just about the chakras. It's about the chakras in relation to you in your everyday life.
Everyday life. Learning how to love thyself, to honor thyself, to take care of thyself, and understand that you can ask for help in doing that. Whatever the help is. I love how this light. I've closed my. I literally, guys, closed my window, and the light still is piercing through in little increments, but it's like it's like it must want to be there. The light wants to shine. You are the light. You are the creator seeking itself as light. You were not created without darkness in you, because in order for there to be light, there must have been dark. You're all. You're everything. You're the illusion. You're the matrix. You're the consciousness that is and is not. Your awareness that is always aware. You're just part of you're all of it in form. Be the creator you were meant to be. It's all right. Try it out. See how it fits. You don't have to be perfect at it. You just have to try it. Like they said, let Mikey try it. He likes everything. You never know, you might like it. Wholeness and balanced love to you. One love. Guess what? We'll be back on Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We get to do episode 29. Holy moly, Batman. You mean we're already at 29? That's right, Robin. We are.
That's right.
Whew.
Everybody have a blessed and beautiful night or day wherever you are. And thank you for your support, and continue to honor yourself and embrace a little bit more of your power by day in any little way that you can. And just know that it's okay to step through those fears, and know that there is a foundation of existence that continues for you no matter what choice you make. And you'll always have an opportunity to do something else. Have a blessed night. Wholeness and balanced love.
Wholeness and balanced love. One love.
One love.